I wanted to go over in more detail about the criteria and diagnosis of personality disorders. So the diagnosis of a personality disorder is the observation of someone's behaviors across various circumstances in their life. So, it can't just be one thing. It has to affect, all areas of their life. Like him, it affects his personal relationships, his family relationships, his work relationships, everything. It affected him when he was in school. So, and it can't be for just a short-term period, like if someone has, something bad happen and they have like a depressive episode for a while, it has to be consistently, for many years. Like his, because his started when he was an early teenager. So, individuals must meet the diagnostic criteria specified below to obtain a formal diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder, also known as psychopathy. So, the behavior begins by age 15 and presents in various contexts. Yep. Failure to conform to social norms concerning lawful behaviors, such as, doing things that are grounds for arrest. And he's on his second arrest now with an ankle monitor, so I'm going to say yes to that. Deceitfulness, repeated lying, conning others for pleasure or personal profit. Definitely. Impulsivity or failure to plan. Which is why when I found condoms in his bag while he was taking a shower at my house, right before he left and disappeared for 3 days, I knew that he was going to go use them because he doesn't plan anything. And with something like that, that's something he's going to go do right now, which is why he took a shower, left my house, went over Ashley's for 3 days. And then when he came back, first thing he did was take a shower. And when I looked in his bag, the box was open and one was missing. So, yeah. Very impulsive and didn't really plan. Didn't plan for the consequences of those actions. Irritability and aggressiveness. All the time. You'd think he was in constant PMS every day of his life. Reckless disregard for the safety of self and others. Yep. I would say anybody who shoots up fentanyl has a disregard for their safety. And anybody who sleeps with multiple people unprotected and then comes back to me crying about how sorry they are and sleeps with me and gives me a disease has a disregard for my safety as well. Consistent irresponsibility. Failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor monetary obligations. He got fired from 5 jobs, the 5 jobs I got him in a 3-year period. And he could never pay his baby mama for the daycare on time. The individual is at least 18, and there is evidence of conduct disorder with onset before age 15. I think his started around 13. So, there you have it. Psychopath. And it's not treatable. And here's another one that basically says the same thing, but, the criteria. If you've known him for, I would say, over a month, you've seen most all of these. Deceitfulness, impulsivity, irritability, aggression, recklessness, and consistent irresponsibility. So, a general disregard for and violation of the rights of others. Yeah, Like how he kept coming over to my house just to terrorize me. When he would come over and park in the middle of my driveway so I couldn't get out of the garage. And he would force me to talk to him. Or when he would stand at the door and be banging on the door and ringing the bell. When I told him I didn't want to talk to him, onset before age 15, and you only need 3 of the following symptoms, but he has 5. Actually, he has all of them, but I've highlighted the top 5. So he does have failure to conform to social norms and repeated law breaking. He is highly deceitful, lies every time he opens his mouth, and tries to con others for whatever he needs. Drugs, money, sex, food. Impulsivity and failure to plan. I always used to say, why don't you ever plan anything for us, like a date or a vacation? Like I have to do everything planning-wise. Because he can't. Irritability and aggressiveness. If you've known him more than a week, I'm sure you've seen a rage outburst from him. Reckless disregard for safety. Consistent irresponsibility. Failure to sustain work or honor obligations. I mean, I had to go to the doctor once for an outpatient procedure for my back, and he swore up and down he was going to take me. So the day came. He never showed up. I called him. He didn't answer. I texted him. I said, "What's going on? Where are you? I'm going to be late." Never responded. Not until that evening, where after I'd already missed the procedure. And do you think he apologized? Nope. He made it my fault. Yeah, he said, "You didn't call me to remind me." I said, "Telling you last night that you need to be here in the morning by a certain time was your reminder." And lack of remorse, indifference to hurting others. I mean, if you can do all of those horrible things to me and not give a damn and continue doing more horrible things, yeah. But you see, he likes to project. So he'll call me a psychopath, even though I don't fit any of those traits, not a one. And all psychopaths also have narcissistic tendencies or have NPD as the secondary personality disorder, which he does because I mentioned before he fits 7 of the 9 traits. Going to just cover the main points here. So narcissistic relationships tend to be very challenging because narcissistic partners, they don't really love. They can't. They don't form that connection. And it's because they lack the part of their brain in the prefrontal cortex responsible for empathy. They're focused on themselves, and they only see their partner in terms of how that person can fill their needs. That's why they're users. So, I mean, you can see that right from the very start, If he's nice, it's because he's going to ask you for something or ask you to do something for him. It's the only time he's ever nice. It's highly manipulative. And if you're not doing something for him, or you disagree with him, or you tell him no, watch out. They can be very captivating in the beginning. However, in time, they become controlling. And they may feel jealous or easily hurt. And when they feel hurt, it's called a narcissistic injury, which causes them to lash out. Their reactions can be dramatic and attention-seeking. Very loud, boisterous, over the top, unnecessary, really. Narcissism is associated with behaving in a way that one is perceived as more likable in the initial encounters, but that likability diminishes with time. So, let's say you've been together for 6 months. You remember back to that first month, right? He was so charming and nice, and he just felt like he really got you, you had chemistry, you clicked. You were like, wow, yeah, he's cool. He likes me. Yeah, that's all fake. That's a performance. And once he knows he's got you where he wants you, well, he doesn't want to put in the work anymore to keep that show up. So the real him starts to come out. This is why many people who have been in a long-term narcissistic relationship describe a very passionate and exciting honeymoon period in the beginning, and then a sharp decline as the likability decreases and the self-centered behavior increases. Narcissists are prone to falling madly in love with someone instantly. If you saw my other video with our text messages, you saw that in the beginning, only a month in, or barely a month in, he's telling me how much he loves me, and just he can't see himself without me. I'm his soulmate. Red flag. I know that now. The initial love and commitment is not easily sustained. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, you may feel very lonely. Yes, I did. It's like I was alone, but I had anxiety from this person that was beside me. Just like he's like a thorn. Really, he is. Your needs and wants are unimportant. The narcissistic partner acts as if they're always right, that they know better, and that their partner is wrong or incompetent. This often leaves the other person either angry or trying to defend themselves. I was always trying to defend myself against something he was saying, because it's like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not even true. But there's also a sinister aspect to that, because when he is pointing out flaws in you that aren't true, you're left grappling with trying to defend something that's not true, which is difficult in itself. But also, it's taking away from the fact that, he's cheating on you and being a complete piece of shit. It's a distraction move. If your partner is all about themselves, always needing attention and affirmation, he or she may be a narcissist. If someone is easily slighted or overreactive to criticism, they may also be narcissistic. If they feel they're always right and that they know more, or that they have to be the best of the best, it's also signs of narcissism. I have examples for all of those. We'll just go with him feeling he's always right. For example, when I moved into my house, there were some projects that we were doing here together. He agreed to help me with some things. And we were putting in a new faucet in my bathroom. And I wanted to read the instructions to see, a couple things. And he was like, I don't need to look at those. I know what I'm doing. And I said, well, I believe you, but I mean, maybe this faucet is different than, one of the ones you put in before, or maybe my sink is different. And he took the instructions, he crumpled them up and threw them on the floor. And he said, I know how to do it better than they do. I said, really? You know how to put this in better than the manufacturer is telling you how to put it in? I mean, they made it, so they know how it goes in. And he was like, yeah, I know better. Wow, okay. And then he yelled at me and told me to get the hell out of the bathroom and don't come back in there until he's done. So tell me why the pop-up in the sink doesn't go up and down. Yeah, it's just stuck right where it is. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, you sure know a lot about a lot. How they have to be the best at everything. He would complain all the time about, he was doing work in the trailer and Mark would mess it up. Mark didn't know what he was doing, and he's not going to do something if it's not going to be perfect. So Mark would want him to do something and say, hey, or put this up like this. And Todd would say, I'm not doing it because that's not the way you do it. I said, why does it matter to you? If he wants you to put it up there, just put it up there. What's the big deal? I mean, do you have some sort of, vested interest in this property that you can't just put it up the way he wants it? Who cares if you think it's wrong? Maybe it looks just fine. No, he wouldn't do it. So they only care about themselves, and they only appear to care about you when you're fulfilling their needs or serving a purpose for them. A narcissistic relationship can lead to a lot of emotional distress. However, many people who have NPD do not seek treatment. Men are more likely to be narcissistic. Roughly 75% of people diagnosed with NPD are men. Yeah. At first, he denied it. He probably still denies it again, but he said, nobody ever told me about this. I said, really? Nobody ever told you that you were a mean, selfish asshole? And he's like, well, yeah, but, nobody ever told me that it was this narcissistic disorder. I said, well, because they probably didn't know. I didn't know. I had to research it. I had to start Googling things about, why is my boyfriend so mean? Why is he so selfish? I mean, I had to figure it out on my own. But, now that you can fix it. And see, that was my hope, right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, great, I figured it out. Like, now he can fix it. No, that's not how it works. Because then he just got more angry with me. And because he felt like that was a criticism, he had to punish me. And every time I would even say NPD or narcissism, he would fly off the handle. Toxic narcissistic traits, which have an adverse effect on their lives and the lives of people closest to them. Forming attachments to these type of individuals causes distress. Most narcissists resist the diagnosis of NPD, which he does. Narcissists generally do not like to be told that they're narcissists. Nope. That's why I said he would just freak out whenever I'd say it. In fact, they often have a strong negative and volatile reaction. Yes, he did. So, if you want to put this to the test, just bring up the fact that he's a narcissist, or say, hey, have you ever heard of NPD? And watch his reaction. Woo! Record it for me, though. I really want to see.